You know, some people have created a God in their own mind, in their own head. They've created this being that they call God. And when he fails them, which he's bound to do, since he's not the real God, they point to him and say how evil God is. See how evil God is? And he's evil indeed, this God they create, this God they imagine for themselves. They call him the sugar daddy in the sky, or something like that. And then, of course, when this God fails them, they point to the real God and blame him. And then they mock Christians, laugh at us believers, for believing in this God. Well, I like to tell them, look, I don't believe in the God that you don't believe in either, because it's not the God of Scripture. Well, they get this idea largely because of they consider the hungry and the poor and the sick and the feeble. And they imagine that surely this sugar daddy in the sky that they've created would, if he existed, wouldn't allow for such people, to exist on the earth in such a state. And they just don't understand that. Imagine that if this sugar daddy in the sky was the real God, was really what God was like. And he took care of all of our needs or all of our wants, desires. Then where would be our compassion? I mean, why would we care about all of those who are sick and poor and hungry and the feeble in the world? Why would we care? We would have no compassion for them. In fact, we wouldn't have any compassion for ourselves. I mean, after all, God is going to take care of it. I mean, we don't need to feel compassion for one another. But God wanted us to have these compassions, these feelings, and these emotions into care for one another. Well, you see, God has already taken care. The real, true God has already taken care of these poor and hungry and the feeble of the world. He sent us. He has us to go and help them. So it is God who is asking us why we still have such people in the world today. But imagine for a minute that God really is this sugar daddy in the sky. And that every time we needed something, he took care of it. Do you think we would appreciate such a God? Would we be thankful to him for that? I don't think so. Because after all, we would only come to take him for granted. I mean, after all, that's all we ever knew. That's all there ever was. Is whenever we needed something, poof, it appeared. If ever we were hungry, he saw to it that we got food. We would take him for granted. And I wonder, how long would it be before we would be telling God, look, let's get with the program. God, I mean, after all, I need this. And I don't have a whole lot of time to wait around on you. I mean, I'm busy. I got things to do. Why is it you take so long? I mean, then how long would it be before we move to the next step and said, why do you hate us so much, God? I mean, after all, if you really loved us, well, sure, you take care of us when we're sick, or you help us when we're poor and hungry. But why do we ever have to get hungry in the first place? Why is it that we ever get sick to begin with? If you truly loved us, you would see to it that we never got sick or hungry. So not only would we not appreciate God, but we would turn on him like we do now. Well, it's really a matter of evil. They wonder, why would God create allow evil to appear in our lives at all. Well, one day when Christ returns, it's going to be much like that. But until then, in this day and age that we live in now, we need to ask ourselves a very serious question. We need to ask ourselves, what if God would announce to the world and just let everyone know, so that everyone knew, that at 12 o'clock, God was going to wipe out all the evil out of the world? We need to ask ourselves, where would we be at 12:01?